November 3rd, 1929, 10:15 p.m. The Lexington Hotel, Chicago. Room 430. Al Capone sat at his desk. Papers, numbers, business. Door knocked. 3 times. Pause. 2 times. Code knock. Trusted visitor. Come in. Eddie Fast-Mouthed Torrelli entered. Age 29. Capone's personal messenger for 6 years. Loyal, reliable, trusted completely. Capone looked up. What is it? Eddie walked closer, stopped 3 feet away. Something wrong. Eyes shifting, hands at sides, not relaxed, tense. Boss, I need to tell you something. Then tell me. Eddie opened mouth. Nothing came out. Hesitating, not normal. Eddie never hesitated. Eddie talked fast, always. That's why they called him Fast Mouth. But something else was in that room, something Eddie didn't see. Frank Nitti stepped from shadow behind door, pressed paper to Torrelli's chest, let him look at it. Eddie's face went white. Letter. His handwriting, dated 2 weeks ago, addressed to Captain Schoemaker, Chicago Police Department, describing Capone's movements, Capone's safehouse locations, Capone's schedule. Informant letter. Eddie Torrelli had been talking to police for 4 months, and Capone had known for 2 weeks. 48 hours later, Eddie Fast-Mouthed Torrelli would be found on a park bench in Grant Park, alive, breathing, but silent, permanently silent. He would never speak another word again. This is the story of the trusted man who talked too much, and what Capone did to the tongue that betrayed him. Eddie Torrelli, born 1900, Chicago's near North Side, son of Italian baker, grew up poor, street smart, fast talker, age 14, first job for Chicago outfit, running numbers, small work, but noticed. Kid was quick, remembered everything, never wrote anything down, perfect memory, perfect loyalty, or so it seemed. Age 19, promoted, Capone's personal messenger. Direct line between Capone and his lieutenants. No phones. Too risky. Too easy to tap. Messages carried in person. Memorized. Never written. Eddie memorized everything. Meeting times. Safe house addresses. Payment schedules. Shipment routes. Names. Amounts. Everything passed through Eddie's mouth. Trust level absolute. Capone called him my voice. Said it himself. Eddie is my voice. When he talks, I'm talking. For 6 years, perfect record. Not one leak, not one mistake, not one suspicion. Until Captain Schoemaker of Chicago PD made contact. November 1928, Schoemaker approached Eddie at his usual lunch spot, diner on Clark Street, private booth. We know what you carry. You're an accessory to every crime those messages enable. Bootlegging, murder, extortion. 20 years, minimum. Eddie, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. But we don't want you. We want Capone. Help us. Give us locations, schedules. You walk free. New identity. Nobody knows. Eddie refused. Walked out. Told nobody. Second meeting. December 1928. Schoemaker returned. This time with photographs. Eddie's father's bakery. His younger brother working counter. Shame if the health department found violations. Enough to close the business. Enough to ruin the family. Threat understood. Started talking. December 1928. Small things first, then more. Safe house on Wabash Avenue. Meeting location in Cicero. Payment schedule for city aldermen. 4 months of information. Steady stream. Trying to thread needle between protecting family and not destroying Capone. Needle too thin. Thread broke. January 1929. Capone's organization noticed something. 3 separate police raids, all on locations only Eddie knew. Wabash Avenue safe house, raided. 2 men arrested. Cicero Club, police watching, meeting cancelled. Alderman Thomas Gorman, suddenly uncooperative, scared. 3 incidents. 3 connections, all Eddie. Frank Nitti brought it to Capone quietly. February 1929. Boss, we have a problem. Laid out pattern. 3 raids, 3 locations, 1 common thread. Eddie Torrelli knew all 3. Nobody else did. Capone listened, face showing nothing. Inside, cold fury, controlled. Don't touch him, don't change anything, let him keep working. Feed him what I want police to know, and find proof. 2 weeks of surveillance, Jack McGurn personally watching Eddie. Distance, professional. February 14th, McGurn followed Eddie to Clark Street Diner. Watched Eddie hand-folded paper to Schoemaker. Exchange, clear, unmistakable, photographed. McGurn returned to Lexington Hotel, gave Capone photographs. Capone looked at them 30 seconds, set them down. Good, now we wait. Waited 2 more weeks. Let Eddie feel safe. Let trust remain apparent. March 1st, Eddie's letter to Schoemaker intercepted. Detailed account of planned Capone meeting. Time, location, names. Enough. Capone had what he needed. November 3rd, the confrontation arranged. 10:15 p.m. Room 430, Lexington Hotel. Eddie entered. Saw Capone at desk. Normal. Regular business meeting. Eddie had been here 100 times. Walked forward. Started to speak. Nitti stepped from shadow. Pressed letter to Eddie's chest. Eddie read his own words. Saw his own handwriting. Addressed to Schoemaker. Dated 2 weeks ago. Nitti, we have 6 others, plus photographs. Eddie's legs went weak. Grabbed chair back. Held himself up. Capone hadn't moved from desk. Hadn't looked up yet. Still reading paper in front of him. Eddie, boss, please, let me explain. They threatened my family. My father's business. My brother. I didn't have choice. Now Capone looked up. Slow, deliberate. Sit down. Eddie sat, body shaking slightly, hands on knees. How long? 4 months. Since December. What did you give them? Eddie listed everything. All of it. Capone needed to know extent of damage. Eddie gave complete account. Wabash Avenue, Cicero, the Aldermen, planned meetings, shipment schedules. Capone listened, face still, eyes hard, recording everything. When Eddie finished, silence. Long, heavy. You know what you are to me. You're my voice. 6 years. Every message I ever sent went through you. Every location, every meeting, every plan. My voice. And you used my voice to talk to police. Boss, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. I'll fix it. I'll give you Shoemaker. I'll tell you everything he knows. Stop talking. Eddie stopped. Capone stood, walked around desk, stood in front of Eddie, looking down at him. You talked too much. That was always your problem. Fast mouth. We thought it was talent. Turns out it was weakness. Someone found that weakness and pulled the thread. Eddie, please. My family had nothing to do with this. They threatened. Your family is safe. I protect people who are innocent. Your brother didn't talk to police. Your father didn't. You did. The consequences are yours. Capone walked to window, looked out at Chicago night. The police have 4 months of information because of your voice, because of your tongue. You gave them my safe houses with that tongue, my schedules, my men's names. Your tongue was the weapon they used against me. Paused. So we need to talk about that tongue. Eddie understood, face drained completely. Please, please don't. Stand up. Eddie stood, legs barely working. Tony Accardo and 2 soldiers entered from side room. Had been there the whole time, listening, waiting. You have 2 choices, same as I always give, because I'm fair. Even now, I'm fair. Eddie waited, eyes wet, body rigid. Choice 1. You go to Schoemaker tomorrow morning. You tell him the operation is compromised. You've been discovered. You can't continue. You walk away from informing. You leave Chicago. Tonight, you take your father and brother, all 3 of you. New city. I'll provide money. Enough to start over. You never contact Chicago again. Never. Your family lives. You keep your tongue. But you spend rest of your life knowing what you did, living with it, silent by choice. Choice 2. You stay in Chicago. You continue to feed police information. You keep working against me. And I take from you what you used against me. The thing that made you valuable. The thing that made you dangerous. Pause. Long. Your choice, Eddie. Eddie, I'll leave. I'll leave tonight. I swear. I'll never. Capone held up hand. Don't swear. Your words mean nothing now. Ocado will take you to your father's place. You have 2 hours to pack and leave. McGurn will drive you to Indianapolis. From there, you're on your own. The money will be delivered to your father tomorrow morning. Before anyone wakes up, Eddie, thank you. Thank you, boss. I'm sorry. I'm truly go. Eddie turned, moved toward door, stopped, because there was a third man in the room. One Eddie hadn't noticed, standing by side door. Man Eddie didn't recognize. Who? Ocado grabbed Eddie's arms from behind. Strong grip, immovable. Wait, you said I could go. You gave me choice one. I chose. Capone spoke from behind him, voice cold, final. I gave you choice one, and I meant it. Your family will be fine. You will leave Chicago. All of that remains true. Then why? Because Chicago will remain, and Schoemaker will remain, and someday, in Indianapolis or Detroit or wherever you end up, a policeman will find you, and they'll offer you another deal, and you'll have another family to protect, and your tongue will move again. I won't. I swear I won't. You already swore to me 6 years ago. Fast mouth, loyal, reliable. That was the oath. You broke it. The third man stepped forward. Doctor, brought specifically for this purpose. Precise, professional, not a killer, a surgeon, of sorts. Eddie, no, please. I'll be quiet. I'll never say another word. I'll be silent forever. I promise. Please. Ocado held him, firm. 2 soldiers assisted. The procedure, precise, controlled, surgical, not brutal hacking, calculated removal. The part of the tongue used to form words. Anterior portion, the mobile section. What moves when a man speaks? Not lethal, not even close. Medical knowledge applied deliberately. Eddie would breathe normally, eat, drink, swallow, live completely normal life. Physical functions intact, but speech gone, permanently, irreversibly. Eddie fast-mouthed Torrelli would never form another intelligible word. 30 minutes, done. Ocado took Eddie to hospital. Private doctor on Capone's payroll. Wounds treated. Infection prevented. Recovery ensured. Capone made certain Eddie lived, healthy, just silent. Next morning, $3,000 delivered to Eddie's father's bakery. In envelope. No note, just money. Father didn't understand, but took it. That afternoon, Eddie, father, and brother boarded train. Destination, Indianapolis. Never returned to Chicago. Captain Schoemaker waited. 3 days, no contact from informant. Sent message through usual channel, no response. Checked Eddie's known locations. Apartment empty. Family gone. Understood. Informant discovered. Operation burned. Sent report to commissioner. Asset compromised. Investigation suspended. All information Eddie provided now suspect. Could be deliberately fed. 4 months of work, useless. Capone's response to leak, moved every safe house Eddie knew, changed every schedule, replaced every compromised contact point. 2 weeks of restructuring, expensive, but necessary. Nitti, how much damage? Capone, manageable. We caught it before they built a case. 2 men arrested at Wabash. Some money. Could have been much worse. Why didn't you just kill him? His family had nothing to do with it, and a dead informant is a martyr. A silent informant walking around Indianapolis is a message. McGurn. What message? That I can find anyone. That Eddie Torrelli wakes up every morning knowing what he did, knowing what it cost him, and knowing I let him live anyway. That's worth more than a body. Eddie Torrelli lived until 1961. Age 61. Indianapolis. Worked in his uncle's printing shop, operated machines, no speech required. Communicated through written notes, small notepad always in pocket. People who met him assumed birth defect, accident. He never corrected them, just nodded and wrote. His father ran small grocery store in Indianapolis until 1945. Never knew full truth, only knew Chicago had become dangerous, grateful, never asked details. His brother Joseph became accountant, respected, normal life, never knew what Eddie had done or what it had cost him. 1947, Capone died. Syphilis, Palm Island, Florida, age 48. Eddie read it in newspaper, sat for long time, then wrote on his notepad, folded paper, kept it in pocket. His nephew found the note years later, after Eddie died of pneumonia in 1961. 3 words: he was fair. In Chicago, Capone's men told the story for decades. Guy named Fast Mouth, best messenger in the outfit, talked to police for 4 months. Capone found out, could have killed him. Instead, took his voice, let him live, moved his family, gave them money. Pause. And after that, not one man in the organization talked to police, not one informant, not one leak, because they knew Capone takes the specific thing you used against him and lets you live with the loss. Hands if you grabbed him, eyes if you aimed at him, voice if you talked against him. That's not revenge, that's accounting. Eddie Torrelli, 1900–1961. Fast Mouth. The messenger who talked too much. The man who chose silence too late. If this story showed you what real loyalty costs, hit subscribe. Al Capone, 1899–1947. Scarface. The man who took Fast Mouth's fast mouth. Justice with perfect symmetry.